Hello and welcome to another devlog for Blink. I'll start by apologizing for my lack of posting recently. I've been thoroughly enjoying a week-long vacation during which I pretty much did no work at all. Did however get some pretty cool footage on the trip so you guys can enjoy some interesting b-roll in this video. As you know, at the end of my last devlog I shipped off my beta to friends and family to test. Over the course of my vacation, Blink was thoroughly tested and I've accumulated a ton of great feedback. Maybe more than a week's worth of work, but we'll see. Anyway, the goal for this devlog is clear. To improve as much of Blink as I can and get as close to release as I can. So, let's start with a few changes I did manage to make last week while cramped on a tiny plane. Nothing too major here. I spent some time reworking the options screen and made a start improving the in-game screen. We'll start with the options screen. Previously, the only items on this screen were an option to toggle lighting effects and a link to remove ads via my in-app purchase. I received feedback that the toggle for lighting was really not at all noticeable and may have not had a big performance impact. It was also suggested that I add some more common and useful options. In response, I've added an option to toggle sound effects in Blink and also added an option to prevent the rotating effects of the circles. I actually had one tester that felt dizzy after playing because of this effect, so I figured why not allow the user to disable it. Next up, I've started to make some big changes to the in-game screen. Almost everyone who played Blink agreed that the options here were confusing. The play again button took you to the home screen rather than starting another round, and you had to tap through two screens to watch the reward ad and continue your round. I've greatly simplified this now. You can go back to the main menu with an actual main menu button in the top left corner. When you tap play again, you'll actually start a new round as expected. And when you tap to watch a reward ad, the ad will start immediately. Though I still need to improve my messaging around how the player is actually rewarded. So that's where we stand. It's Thursday night after work, and I'd really like to crank through a bunch more improvements by Sunday. Let's take a look at Trello and see what I can knock out tonight. So everything we're going to be working on this week pretty much lives in my to-do column, and for the most part, each of these items represents a piece of feedback that I directly got from one of my testers. I want to bite off a pretty small chunk tonight since it's already kind of late, so I think I'm going to work on improving the experience with ads. As part of my work on the in-game screen already, I have already completed work towards making the experience around the rewarded ad a little bit better. Less clicks, clearer messaging, I think that's all a good experience. What I do need to work on tonight is showing less interstitial advertisements and certainly not showing an interstitial advertisement right after you've just watched a rewarded ad video. So I'm going to make some changes there to make it a little less annoying for the user. Alright guys, here we are on the in-game screen where I've made some pretty big improvements to the way advertisements work. As you can see, we've just finished around here and we have the option to watch an advertisement to continue. And we're also told that that's going to add a bonus multiplier. That sounds great, so let's go ahead and watch it. Of course, after we watch the ad, the multiplier is going to increase and we can go ahead and play around. Once we complete that round, because we just watched an ad to continue and we don't want to daisy chain these rounds together, this option is now grayed out. We have two options here now. We can either return to the main menu or hit play again. If we go ahead and tap play again, you can see we're launched into a brand new round where the score and multiplier are reset. If we go ahead and complete this round, because we started from scratch, this ability to watch the ad to continue will be available again, and you can honestly play Blink a lot quicker this way and unlock characters much faster this way, which I think is a better experience. I also got feedback that it was not a good experience if you tapped to watch an ad to continue voluntarily, and then right after that, if you hit play again, you'd be hit with another ad. To resolve that, I've reset the counter for the number of rounds you watch before an ad after you voluntarily watch one, so you'll never see two in a row. In addition to this, I've actually just taken away the ability to see an ad if you continue to play by hitting play again. You'll never actually trigger an advertisement, at least if I've done this correctly, just by tapping play again. The only way you will trigger an interstitial ad at random is if you're on this screen and you've played a few rounds and you tap main menu. At that point, you'll see an advertisement before you go back to the main menu screen. Overall, I think this will be a little bit more fun experience if you just want to play a bunch of rounds and not have to worry about seeing an advertisement. Gives the player more choice, and overall, it might make a little less revenue, but I think it's a better player experience. Very happy with the progress we made tonight. It is now 8:30. I think I'm going to relax for about an hour before bed, so I'll catch up with you guys in the morning. Welcome back guys, it is Friday morning just after 6 a.m. I'm going to keep working on the in-game screen this morning, specifically these progress indicator components. I've got a few defects to clean up with these, and it turns out the text is really hard to read on smaller devices, so I'm going to see if I can't fix that up. Alright, it's about 5 minutes till 7 and I want to check in with a bit of progress that I made on these progress indicator components. You can see there's more space between these two components now. In fact, really everything on the screen is a bit more spaced out with larger text, and that just makes the whole thing more readable, and I think that addresses one of the biggest complaints I had with this screen from my players. On top of that, I fixed some defects for both of these objects here, and I actually changed the click actions. Before they would do two very different kind of confusing things, but now if you unlock a character or if you unlock an environment and just click on it, it will take you to the appropriate unlocks page where you can just decide what you want to do with that new unlocked item. I think that's much more clear than what I had before. Looking at Trello, I think I'll bite off one more small task for this morning. I had a handful of testers who were struggling with multi-touch input, basically meaning palm rejection. If you tap blink more than once while you're playing, there are kind of some strange side effects that are unintended, so I'm going to try to make sure Blink is only paying attention to one tap at a time. Well, it turns out I was able to solve that problem in about 2 seconds by setting input.multitouch enabled to false, so that was pretty much no trouble at all. I think I'll move on to my other small task, which is preventing the game from ending while the user is filling a circle. This was a major pain point for a couple of my players. So I think I've come up with a good solution for preventing the game from ending while the player is still filling a circle. The first thing I did was add a check to make sure the user was not dragging the player character when we want to end the game. In the case where the player is still filling a circle, we wait to end the game until we see how accurate their circle fill was. If the fill has super accuracy, meaning a perfect fill where you see the blue explosion, we allow the round to continue. For anything below that, we end the round. This rewards a clutch performance with high accuracy when you're about to lose the game, and prevents people from indefinitely continuing with quick and inaccurate circle fills. This morning was way more productive than I expected it to be, which is awesome. I think I'm just going to relax and have another cup of coffee before work, and I'll catch up with you guys sometime tomorrow. We are back again on Saturday afternoon, getting ready to kick off a hopefully productive 2 or 3 hours of development for Blink. Today on the docket is improvements to the About and in-app purchase pages, as well as Blink's tutorial. I've received overwhelming feedback that first-timers really don't understand how to play the game, so I definitely need to have some kind of really simple tutorial in there, rather than just some text guiding you on what to do. To help my productivity today, rather than just show you everything one step at a time as I do it, I'm just going to try to work for 2 or 3 hours straight, and I'll show you everything that I accomplish at the end. So we'll catch up in a little bit. What's going on, guys? It is just going on 3:30 now, and I've had a super productive afternoon. I completed like 4 or 5 tasks, and I've only got one big one left before I'm ready to create one last build for testing and eventually get this thing out the door. So let's go ahead and run through what I worked on this afternoon so far. The first thing I worked on was cleaning up my About page. Just a few tiny UI tweaks here and there, and I added a link to my privacy policy to keep Apple and Google happy. That was all pretty quick and easy. Next up, I made a pretty important change to how my rewarded ad works. Previously, the score you achieved after watching a rewarded ad would only apply to your global score and not your high score. This meant that you would unlock the characters faster, but not the environments. I received pretty unanimous feedback that this behavior was not clear and didn't necessarily feel fair. In response, I've made it so the score you earn after continuing your round will help you unlock everything, both characters and environments. I spent the bulk of my afternoon working on my in-app purchases screen. I did 3 main things here: tweak the UI, enable receipt validation of in-app purchases to help prevent any kind of funny business on rooted devices, and I improved messaging around the success and failure of purchases. To do this, I cranked out a quick little alert manager script and prefab that pops up a little message based on the result of your purchase. I still need to test in-app purchases thoroughly on both platforms, but I thought that these were huge improvements. So, big progress this afternoon, but I still have one really big task, and that is creating a better tutorial for new players who don't necessarily understand how the game mechanics work. I have to put some thought into how I'm going to do that, and it's like 4 o'clock, I'm working all afternoon, so I think I'm going to take a break for now. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Good morning, guys. It's about 8:30 a.m. on Sunday, and I've got two main goals today. The first is to recreate my tutorial system, and the second is to edit and produce this video. Now, as far as the tutorial goes, I've got a little bit of text that flashes up if it's the first time you've played, and it tells you what you have to do. Basically, drag the player into the target circle and make the circles match. That has not really been enough for my testers, and I totally understand that. So my goal today is to create a tutorial that's kind of interactable. You can see what you're supposed to do and then try dragging the player character around the screen a little bit and get some feedback and make sure you understand the game mechanics before you start your first real round. So that's the plan. Let's jump into it. Alright guys, I've been working for about an hour and I've pretty much entirely overhauled the tutorial and made it so much better. Let's check it out. So let's say we've just installed Blink for the first time on our devices and we're ready to play. We'll tap start, and rather than jumping straight into a round, we see this how to play, which is the new tutorial. Basically give two tips here. Drag the Firefly towards the circle and release it when the two circles perfectly overlap. And what we have below is a fully interactable demo that plays just like the game does, but the scene's not getting darker so you can't lose. Go ahead and do a bad circle fill here. You'll see that it says try to line up the circle positions a bit better because the Firefly was pretty far away from the circle. Conversely, if I drag the Firefly into the middle of the circle but don't make the circle sizes match up, I'll get a corresponding tip. Try to make the sizes of the circles match up more closely. My goal here is to try to help the player understand what the purpose of the game is and succeed. If we start doing well, we'll get good prompts. Nice one, try two more. My goal is for the player to get 3 good circle fills. At that point, I'm kind of assuming that they understand how the game mechanics work. And at that point, they can continue to practice here in this little tutorial, or they can hit start round and begin the game. Once they hit start round, they'll never have to go through the tutorial again unless they reinstall the app. So we'll hit start round, it'll start to get dark, and the game will play as normal. I think this turned out really well. I think it's a fun way to be introduced to the game, and it should help people understand what the point of Blink is. As you can probably tell, I'm really happy with how that turned out. That was a relatively small time investment for a huge value add for Blink, so that's just awesome. So, what are the next steps for Blink? I made some changes this week to in-app purchases that will absolutely need to be tested again on device, so I'm planning to do one more quick round of beta testing to my friends and family. At that point, I'm going to make any related tweaks that I need, and I think Blink will be ready for release. My plan is to cover all that in my next devlog, which will hopefully be my last devlog for Blink. Then the game will be in your guys' hands. Thanks so much for watching and for all the support you guys have given me throughout this project. I'm really excited that we're so close. I'll see you in the next one.